Hey there everybody, Eric from OUTER LIMITLESS coming at you today with another video. So in today's video I ask you the question, and I'm just kind of curious, how often do you change out your pocket knives? For me, it really depends on the knife. It kind of depends on, how things are going with the channel and what I have to review. But today, I am actually in the process of changing out between two different pocket knives. And so this is really today not as much of a review, but kind of a discussion. I have a little bit of a back and forth. I'd love to hear some of your comments. I have a little bit of a story and a little bit of a review. So a mixed bag of things, and we're going to mix it up a little bit. So before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Kizer Knives who made this video possible by providing the products that we're going to look at here today. So where the story comes in, David's son, who I've come to know, he is a sales representative for different knife manufacturers. Now, I met David when he represented Kizer Knives. He now works for We Knives, but in between then, I got to know David in terms of a project that I worked on. Now, if you follow my channel and you've seen the Artisan Proponent Hard Use video, that is a knife that David's son selected me specifically to do some hard use testing of that knife. I've started the project, I got into it, but that knife was specifically designed by Dirk Pinkerton. So I reached out to Dirk Pinkerton as part of my knife review and testing criteria for that proponent. And at this point, I really wanted to get a little bit further with some Dirk Pinkerton designs. Now with that, I have looked at a number of Kizer knives. Specifically, I've looked at the Superbads, the Bush, but also the Little River Bowie, which is a Dirk Pinkerton design. So where I was doing the Artisan project, where I was working with both Dirk, but also David's son, who in the past represented Kizer, I really wanted an opportunity to look at some more Kizer knives by Dirk Pinkerton. So in the Kizer lineup, there are a number of knives that are designed by Dirk Pinkerton. One of them is the Lancer. So very similar to these other fixed blade knives, the Lancer, just another excellent offering within the Kizer lineup. However, the representatives at Kizer sent me a Lancer, but it was the Lancer 2 folding knife, not a Dirk Pinkerton knife. This actually is a combination between Ray Laconico and Michael Vagnino. So this Lancer 2, I have to be honest, this made it into my pocket a couple of months ago, and it hasn't come out. This knife is magnificent. Now again, not a Dirk Pinkerton design, didn't go quite in the direction I was going with this particular video, but it worked out very well for me. And this is a knife that is absolutely magnificent. This is S35VN steel. Just an absolutely gorgeous milled titanium handle, has some beautiful features, and just fits absolutely perfect in my pocket. So at this point, I am actually going to swap this out for another knife. Now I do have that with me. So here, the box from the Lancer 2, and here, this is a Dirk Pinkerton design. So this is the Rogue. So a folding knife by Kizer Knives designed by Dirk Pinkerton. And at this point, I'm pretty much looking to swap it out. Now I haven't even gotten into this knife yet. I've been kind of waiting for this moment. I am going to swap this out. But before we do, I do want to go into a little more detail on this Lancer 2. So now that we get into this Kizer Lancer 2, again, I have carried this for about 2 months, just shy of that, and this knife has been great. So to the question that I asked originally, how often do you guys change out your pocket knives? Well, for me, it really kind of depends. This one has landed in my pocket and is having a real hard time making its way out. I greatly enjoy this knife. Look at this thing. It is absolutely beautiful. So again, this is a collaboration between Ray Laconico and Michael Vagnino. So this is a milled titanium handle, has a gorgeous blue anodized finish, and if you look closely on the inside of these holes here, this has gold anodized finish. Just really a cool look. I greatly enjoy this. I think it's just beautiful and a nice combination of colors. Now there's a nice recurve on this and a good high saber grind almost a flat grind. It might be a little bit convexed in there, but this has just a beautiful sharp edge, does a great job with slicing, and just that finish, like a nice stonewash finish, absolutely beautiful. Now as you look at the blade and the action, very nice in terms of the flipping capability. So this is a flipper with a frame lock, has nice lockup, just feels really good. Nice clean deployment and just fits in your hand beautifully. So if you look here, you'll see good 4-finger grip. Gives you a nice purchase with that sort of little, it's not a scallop, but I would say recessed area where your thumb just lands right into place. And it also has a finger choil so that if you want a little more control, you can get up on the blade. Now, like most folders, they don't often have a full-size finger choil. For me, that gets a little bit tight on my finger, but you can definitely use it. Gives you a nice purchase with your thumb on top of the blade. I haven't had any problems with this really poking into my finger. Now you will notice that this has a little bit of a point there where the blade comes and meets that choil. So if you're not careful, it could pinch you. Like I said, I haven't had any problems with that just yet. But overall, beautiful contouring on this entire knife, including the pocket clip. Now, as we get into this here and look a little bit closer, you'll notice this pocket clip is nicely contoured. Now, this is a right-hand tip-up carry. It does not have any other ability to go into any other positions. Has these nice standoffs, an open design. But again, getting back to that pocket clip, there is really only one thing that kind of bugs me with it, and it's a minor complaint, but it's worth noting. So if you're not careful, the clip will kind of move around a little bit on you, and what happens is once it's deployed, if you lean on that sort of pocket clip just a little bit, it will click and sort of set down into place on that frame lock. Again, not a big deal, but what I'm saying is this will kind of wander around. So it's just the placement of the clip where you look, it really lands directly on that seam. It's not a big deal. It doesn't overall really bother me. I just think part of my job is to point out my observations and the things that I find, and that is one of the things, just that clip landing right on that seam. So once it's deployed, has that ability just to pop down and kind of move around on you. Now, I don't know if that can be tightened up at all, so maybe if I angled this up and tightened these down, maybe it would stay. I have not tried that. Certainly something worth investigating. But generally speaking, just a beautiful knife. Now, getting into this a little bit, this is the model KI4495, again, S35V end blade, titanium handle, the Lancer 2, co-designed by Ray Laconico and Michael Vagnino. Now, these days in the knife world, there's not a ton of things that you come across that are completely unique. This blade design is one that I'm actually very familiar with. Again, you can't really come across anything that's completely unique. Now, a while back, I looked at a beautiful handmade fixed blade from the maker Thomas Hacker. Now, Thomas is obviously inspired by a lot of different designers, more specifically Peter Kohler from Dark Timber Knives. Now, Thomas has taken a little bit of slack from time to time for utilizing different aspects and inspiration from the Dark Timber lineup. But as I take the Thomas Hacker Talon, which is a beautiful fixed blade, and put it up here next to this gorgeous Lancer 2, well, lo and behold, take a look at that blade shape. Extremely, extremely similar. These are both a recurve design. They both have that excellent thumb purchase on top. They both have what I would say to be pretty much the exact same lines. Now, do you really think that at the end of the day, either one of these guys specifically copied each other? The answer to that is no, and I will say definitely no. The reality is, at the end of the day, knife designs are harder and harder to come by with their own exact unique look. I can tell you that I've made designs that I thought were unique. And the more you look and the more you poke around, the more you realize other people have the same design elements and thoughts that you do. And that's kind of what's going on here. So, again, this has been one of my favorite blade shapes. I love this wilderness blade. I love the feel and how it fits in my hands. So the minute I saw this Lancer 2, I was like, oh baby, that thing is absolutely sweet. But the whole purpose of this video is that it's time for the changing of the guard. So now, putting this Lancer 2 aside, it is time for me to get into my next blade. So here, this is the Kizer Rogue. So this is a Dirk Pinkerton design, the KI 3480 S35 VN blade, titanium handle, 3-inch overall blade length. So at this point, let's pop this out. So like most Kizer knives, nice presentation. Their presentation is beautifully done, and I've said it before, packaging to me, it's not make or break on a product. However, when you do see companies paying attention to the details in their packaging, you know they're paying attention to the details on their knives. So with that said, Kizer always does a nice job. You have this nice little box. It's almost like a magnetic closure, which is really pretty cool. I like that. It's subtle, but it's there. You can see magnetized. Little tiny details, but attention to detail nonetheless. But as we get into it, here you have their interior packaging. So warranty card going in here. There you go. So usage warranty card. You have a nice pouch. This here, couple extra little screws. But opening this up and taking out the Rogue. So here you have it in a little bit of a plastic bag. And boom, look at that. So the Dirk Pinkerton designed Rogue. Now, unlike the Lancer here, Lancer 2, I should say, being a flipper, no thumb studs. This Rogue, a little bit different. Not a flipper, but has the thumb studs. And I can tell you right away, that action, that was sweet. Nice fit in the hands. And what I like about Dirk Pinkerton designs is the utilitarian blade shape. Now don't get me wrong, you get a lot of utility out of a knife with a recurve, but these Pinkerton designs, a very refined point in that good utilitarian shape. I have come to greatly appreciate that out of a knife. And that's what you get a lot of times with Dirk Pinkerton. So getting back real quick into the artisan cutlery proponent, this knife you saw me absolutely wailing on. That blade shape held up wonderfully. And here you have it again, very similar with the Rogue. So Pinkerton definitely having that sort of, I would say at this point, his own unique and signature style. You get it on a number of different knives, and especially when you get into these folders, look at that. Flat grind, high saber, utilitarian point, razor sharp S35 VN, titanium handles with these scales, nice durable frame lock, and that anodized blue titanium clip. This knife is gorgeous, and I am excited to get this into my pocket. Now, this is actually quite compact. When you compare these two real briefly, they're both reasonably small, but just that Rogue being a little more compact in overall length. The Lancer 2 may be feeling just a little bit thinner, but I don't think it is. I think at the end of the day, this Rogue's just a little bit smaller. So a couple of gorgeous offerings from Kizer. I have to say, I've been very happy with their fixed blades, and now getting these folders in my hands, they are just wonderful. So again, this Kizer Rogue is just a gorgeous little EDC folding knife designed by Dirk Pinkerton, often going to that Wharncliffe style blade. It has a thumb stud, a little bit of jimping right on the top, nice and comfortable. A titanium handle, beautiful milling. I like the decorative milling on the side, gives it a little bit of traction. Now, I'm not going to say it's sharp, don't get me wrong, that's not like sharp, it's not going to cut me. But it has just a little bit of an edge to it. So, it gives you some grip, but it's not uncomfortable. It just has a little bit of like a ridgy grip to it that helps aid in the purchase on the knife. And what I really like is, if you look closely, it's cool how they did this. So everything that's been milled is black, but everything that is on the flats is satin finish. So a beautiful two-tone look. I think that's great. And then just a little bit of touch with that blue anodized titanium pocket clip. Now this is a right-hand carry, however, this could be tip up or tip down. Personally, for me, I mean, I've always greatly enjoyed a tip-up carry. I don't really carry any knives that are tipped down for the most part. I just don't naturally gravitate towards them, but I do very much enjoy the tip-up carry. I like the way this deploys. I like the quality with that nice, heavy-duty frame lock. That's going to work out very well. Seems to have good action, a nice pivot, that beautiful tumbled finish. Now, this is, if you look carefully, really sort of like a stone wash finish. A little bit different, actually. A little more tumbled than what you get out of this Lancer 2. So a couple different looks, couple different finishes here from Kizer. Both equally beautifully, nicely done. And these are definitely a couple of wonderful options for an EDC folding knife. So at this point, swapping out the Lancer 2 for the Rogue. Now the question is, I was so drawn to that Lancer 2, will I have the same carry experience with this Rogue? I would say yes. The S35 VN steel on the Kizer has been magnificent. I have greatly enjoyed it. It's been a wonderful performer, held an excellent edge. The thing is still razor sharp. So now getting this Pinkerton design Rogue in my hands, I am totally looking forward to using this and putting it to some good hard EDC use. So, alright guys, there you have it, a look at a number of blades from Kizer. Real quick, before we take off, a quick shout out to David's son. Again, David has made so many things possible for me. I greatly appreciate it. So not just for Kizer, but with Artisan and hopefully moving forward with We. Great guy, wonderful in this knife community. Somebody that I've greatly enjoyed getting to know. And also Dirk Pinkerton. He's also supporting my channel. I'm happy to help support him as well. His knife design and utility purpose, self-defense purpose, his overall quality and designs and his collaborations with these companies have been nothing but spectacular. So alright guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.